Hello, this is DCS, Digital Combat Simulator, and I got asked in one of the questions what's it like with a lot of units on the map. So on this map I've got a bunch of enemies, I've got a whole bunch of ships over here moving along, including aircraft carriers. I've got some more targets over here that we can drop some bombs on, some more ships, and we've also got a few tankers for air to refueling going on up here. So we've got a few units on the map, something that's fairly realistic I think, including some more units here that we can target. We'll have a little look at what the FPS is like. I'm using the 5950X, so your results will vary depending on what CPU you use. I'm not using the best CPU that's or the latest one that's just been released, but it is a 5950X. If you have a better CPU, you will be able to get more performance out of that 4090, I suspect, and also this game. But yeah, I can only test with what I can show you, and that was a 5950X with a 4090 at this time. But you can see the frames up there in the top left as we go. We'll do a bit of a cold and dark start and I'll try and talk instead of not mentioning what I'm doing on this video. So you'll see me do my own process, but I'm going to start down here. I'm going to turn on all of these. You can skip the map mode because that's not needed. I've left it on stored heading. Just going to turn up these three and only these just a touch. Then we'll go up to here, turn on these two. We can turn that down and turn on the DoD data. We can bring ourselves up with a joystick. And we'll go over to here, we'll just turn on this. We can put the bit mode on a bit later. I changed this to 4 and we'll just go to bright and bright and we'll leave it on norm. That's all fine. Big thing which most people would have started with is that. And then we're going to switch it to start 2. We'll close the canopy. You can click a little button here, just one left click. And you don't have to use left control and C, but the only problem with that is you can't click on other things while you're waiting. So we'll click there, now we'll click there, we'll click on this. We will turn on the jammer and the radar and the flares and stuff like that. We can put that onto taxi lights and we'll change it to Cat 3. We'll just have a little look and see if our weapons are on. Got a bomb, some weapons, lots of fuel, sidewinders and aim 9s basically, and aim 120s and stuff like that on there at the moment. Parking brake is on. We can turn up this and we can probably level out that. So that's all done. You can notice over here it'll be 20 or something. And so I just use a button on my joystick, but you should use right shift and home and it'll unlock it and then it'll move it forward and then the plane will continue with the start. The bit test I'm talking about is down here. You can right click this and it'll say run and then you can see it doing some movements in the back of the plane. It's not necessary, but it's just cool. Similar to this, because you can click here and it doesn't really do anything, but it's cool. So that's why you click it. We've got the radios going on over here. And what we can do is we can click over here on list and we can try and do this whole head mounting stuff. So we'll hit on 0 and then we'll click recall. Then we'll click right on sequence. And then we just got to turn this up so that we can say something, and then we will try and see if we can do this alignment stuff. So we'll look up to where it is, hold it, it's apparently happy, and then we'll click 0 and then it's going to do the next one, which is like this. You can make it go left and right if you want to, but you just hit 0, and then the next one is roll and it's in the center, so we hit 0 and that's all the alignment done. So that's pretty easy. I'm over here, you can turn this up and then you can push S on the keyboard and you can see nose wheel steering, and then of course you got this thing here you can turn up as well. That's mostly all we need to do for the cold and dark start. How easy is that? So anyway, we will give the plane just a little bit of power. You can turn the parking brake off if you want to. It's just on anti-skid. If you leave that on anti-skid, or like say I put it onto off, you'll notice you get a warning down here and you also get this up here, so just in case you're wondering what's going on. If you do have any warnings down here and you're not sure what to do, just go over to here to see caution reset, click that, and then go back over here and to see if it clears it. It's just something else you can do. You can of course look at your tanks and see how much fuel is in them, but we know they're pretty full. We trust the ground crew today to fill them up for us. So we'll head over towards the runway. I love how you can see the foot pedals move, to see how it sort of like sloped. It's very cool. So we'll keep traveling over this way. I might change it to list and then 6 just so we can see the ground speed. One of the big things I like about this plane is you can see the ground speed, and not only that, notice you can see it up here as well. You get this information from clicking down here to see dead mode. You change it to off, and then you can sort of go click click, and then it comes back. So that's how you turn it on and off with that button there. We've got our radar on. We can put our master arm on if we want to, but we'll probably wait until we get up into the sky. We can just quickly check what we've got going on there. I don't know what brakes Chan 1 and Chan 2 is. It's probably something new for me to learn. There's lots of new stuff and different things to learn in these planes. I don't think we need that much runway, but we'll head down here anyway. Very early morning here, and we've got a couple of targets out here for us to get. They're not equals, but they're targets, so... Right, one thing I could do, just see down here it's got like this P and EU. If you left click on it, it disappears, and then that solves that. So we'll come around here. There's no other planes in the map at the moment besides what I'm aware of, so we don't particularly have to stop here. We'll just come out onto the runway. I'm not expecting anyone to land. And then we will turn around and then get ourselves ready to engage in some air combat. And we might be able to drop some bombs on a target and stuff like that. But the whole time you can see the frames per second up there in the top left. So I hope that helps with that question. Alright, so we'll go... one thing you can do, I don't know if you're aware, there's like an afterburner detent mode. So if I click on my afterburner detent mode and now push the throttle all the way forward, it won't go into afterburner. So if you're not aware of that, have a look up that, but that's something you can do. You notice I can just do like a military power takeoff now. So this is just a mil power takeoff. I can engage the afterburner if we need. We'll just show that we've got enough runway to do a normal takeoff. So around about 160 we will want to pull back. We're quite heavy, so I'm expecting the number's going to be higher than normal. There is a chart, but somewhere between 150 and 170 depending on how heavy you are, and we're pretty heavy on this one, so it made sense that we're going to take off a little bit later. We'll spin this plane around, and then we'll get a little bit of a zoom in on our radar here and see if we can find someone who looks friendly to shoot missiles at today. They've kindly gone up into the sky to make themselves available to be shot down, so that's good. You can use this and you can just cheat by going, okay, it's going to be a sort of bearing 003, and then you can go down to here and change this to nav. I don't know if we need to do an in-flight alignment, hopefully not. May have to actually. Just move ourselves to 003 anyway. What am I saying? It's 84. Did you see that? 84, 83 is the magnetic, and then and that new thing they introduced, you can drag around now to compass roads, so that's really cool. So we need 84, which makes way more sense to me. There we go. We're now heading in the general direction we need. So that means we can then hopefully see them on the radar. So we haven't got this soy, so we're just going to make it soy quickly. And then we'll go and change it to 80. And we can maybe change it to A3. And we'll see if we have any more luck finding these targets. We can also put on the markers so that we can label, so we can see what's going on. 160 is going to be way too far. We've got a target, so we're just going to lock them up. Single target track, and they're in front of us. So that's cool. We're just going to click on air to air, and now we can put the little circle inside the box. They're pretty much just going head on with them at the moment. And we'll just have a little look down here. We just got in slave mode, so it's slave to whatever we've got set here as a target. We'll try and do the second one in bore sight mode if we can work it out. And we've got some AIM 120s here. This is going to be a long range shot, and then we might change to the short range shot. So they're both sort of heading towards us. We just need to work out if we can fire yet. So if you look up here, you're looking at this little icon, or you're looking down here at this little icon, waiting for that little triangle to sort of get within that box. So we'll just keep it steady for the moment. We can see our closure rate quite fast. We're burning about 500 at each other's direction and their direction from us. So it's coming closer and closer, down to 40. No problem. And are we in a position where we can shoot yet? Is the next question. Here we go. Can you see that? It's coming down. So now we can shoot, basically. We've got a nice big circle, and so we'll just hold down the fire button. Do we have master arm on? No. Now we hold down the fire button. There we go. And then if we can, we'll just change this to that. So that should take out this first target. If we're lucky, we'll just look out the window there. Let's see how that turns out. We got him. It's damaged, and you can see he's splattered down there. So that was difficult. And then we'll just change this to bore sight mode. And you can see now we've got this little, I don't know, triangle thing. And so we've got to find the other enemy. So in the map here, if we can find them, this is now what we're going to be using to aim with. And we've got it, I hope, on an AIM 9X. AIM 9 type missile. We're looking for anything that indicates that there's an enemy in front of us. We could use our radar if we wanted. You can see a parachute, there we are. So I want to just turn off him if I can, just to show you how the bore sight mode works. And then, if we can get it to get off a little bit, there we go. So now we've got a head mounted display, we're just a little bit side onto him. And we've got a lock. We're about 5,000, and we'll fire. We've got two of them, we could fire a second one. There we go. And we got him twice, and he's over the top. So anyway, that was pretty cool. You can see the splatter down there. So that's a little bit of a demonstration of that. We'll see if we can drop some bombs next. On one of those islands. We've still got some missiles in case we need to defend ourselves, but yeah. They're all needing to be rescued, so we can call in for some rescue helicopters. It would be really cool if the game had like rescue helicopter functions. I know some people have managed to do that in the game, but it's a really cool idea for an activity for the helicopters, I think. So, we still want the master arm on, but we want to change to air to ground. So now we've got air to ground. We've got it just on CCIP, it's on the Mark 82s, so this single, and that's fairly okay. You can change this to nose, tail, or whatever you want. I'll just leave it on nose, tail. And that's all okay. So we'll just head towards the island first, if we can find it. There's one island, we'll go over there. You'll notice it looks a lot like the shadows, like, to see how that's a shadow and then that's an island, so it can be a little bit difficult to spot it, the island, especially in different weather conditions to this. We've got moving clouds now, so this is using the 2.8, which just came out a few days ago, so that's quite cool. We want to bring this fuel back. I'm pretty certain our center tank is going to be empty at the moment, but I don't know, we'll have a look. Not a lot left. So yeah, we'll just change it back to normal. But you can check your fuel loads by looking down here. And all of that sort of stuff. We haven't got any of those pods on the front, so I haven't put any of them on today. All of that's fairly okay for the moment. If you need to, you can put in-flight alignment on, just like hold the plane steady, stick on like altitude hold, go down to here, and then go switch it to in-flight alignment and wait pretty much, and that's the process for that. We'll take that off though. We'll fly out this way and see if we can hit anything at all. If we can hit something, that'll be cool. See our ground speed down here. 599, a little bit fast. You can also see it, of course, down here. 918 kilometers an hour. It's a bit fast for me. You can change what it displays with one of the buttons down here, which looks at your ground speed, true airspeed, all of this switch here. You can change it to what you want. This is very cool, your night lighting stuff, but we're in daytime, so it's not really helpful at the moment. We'll head over this way, a little bit of a Chadnian cloud. I think we've got a bit of a gap when we get past that over there, and then we can come down, but there's no clouds directly above the island at the moment, so that's okay. We can change it to like a covert form now, so we'll put it onto that. We've just got one little light in the back. You could change it to even more if you wanted to. Just turn it to off, and then basically you've got no lights on. We've got no squadron members, so we can probably do that for this bombing run attack that we're about to do. Okay, we'll keep an eye on this island, which I'm going to lose all perspective of. It's apparently down there somewhere. Off to our left, so we can see that. And there's some targets just down here on the runway, so we're going to try and line up on some of those and see if we can drop a couple of bombs. If we can hit anything at all, that's pretty impressive, I think. And then we'll come back and we'll try and land. And you can see, of course, the frame rate the whole time, 240 FPS. I'm pretty happy with that on a fairly realistic situation. The game is playable. I don't feel like I need to upgrade further at this time. Like, it's good. And I'm running on a 240 Hertz monitor, so we're getting some benefit out of, you can't sit on YouTube, of course, but we can get 260 frames, then great, because we got a 240 Hertz monitor. Not sure if we need to trim it maybe just a touch, because we just got one missile different or something on the wings. There's one missile on that side there, on the right hand side, and there's nothing on the left. All the left ones are gone. So that's all. We could just fire it for no reason, but yeah, we don't need to do that. So we'll see how this goes. What is our altitude? 12,000 is pretty high. We'll see if we can do this on one attempt. It's very easy to descend. These clouds are at a beautiful altitude. They really are. And then we've got those lovely clouds up there. So I do want to just set up so I can look at the map a little bit easier. Yeah, we can go left now. When we look down there, we can see the runway. Still got my master arm on. No problems there. Should have plenty of fuel. Really cool. Being able to just look left to right. So for me to look behind me just with my eyes, it's like that. You see what I mean? So it takes a while. But if I use my head as well as my eyes, it's like, dang, straight away. So I was trying to explain that, and that's basically all it is. And if I go left, so if I just use my eyes left, you can sort of get back there, but it's very slow. And then if I use my head plus my eyes, do you see what I mean? It's like just straight away. I can look directly behind. Okay, so we'll get this altitude to come down. Not sure we need those labels in this run. What I could use maybe is just to zoom in. And then once we get to the point where we can drag it in, pretty good timing. And then we can get out of there. And just watch the bomb hit the target, and the second one hit the target. So that's alright. We've got some infantry and stuff damaged down there, but we're essentially on target for what we wanted. Just down there. And then we can go back and land. Now I think there is some SAM sites there, so man pads or something, so I think we'll be a little bit careful here. Gonna have a very short flight otherwise. There is the ships down there, which are conducting the attack on the island. Take a little flight past them. And then we'll head off towards our other friendly island in this direction. We can actually see it just in the distance there, which is nice. And we'll head away. 240, 250 frames per second. We tested a little bit there. If you do find stuttering's really bad, you can add that preload radius. If you're finding it's an issue, but my bigger problem is I'm recording on the same computer, so I mean your results should be better than this. At the moment you use a 4090 with faster than 5950X, your results will be a little bit better. The other thing is I'm running this card in silent mode, and I mean when you're getting 260 frames per second, I'm not really sure I need to overclock it. But it would be interesting to know what sort of results you could get with that as well. But I mean, this is the results from just having it in silent mode, and it's playable already. You know, there's not much point me pushing over 270 frames per second when I've only got a 240 Hz monitor. So this is pretty much perfect for me. Definitely happy with it. What we will do is I'll just go down here and put that up a little bit more. We can take it out of air to ground mode. I think we're in into ground mode. Take it out of air to ground mode. There we go. And we can take our master arm to off. We can think about our landing lights. We've got anti-skid on, that's okay. We could maybe change the stores config to Cat 1 if we wanted, but we've still got the fuel tanks, so what we will do is we'll just remove that. So we're a little bit lighter just for the landing, for what we've got coming up. And now we can hopefully change ourselves to Cat 1. I don't need this anymore, so we can turn that off. And we've just done this whole mission in mil power, so just to prove that I can put it on, I can turn the afterburner on if I want to, by just hitting the button. Do you see what I mean? Bring the throttle back, hit the afterburner detent, full throttle, and there's no afterburner. So yeah, it's just a cool way of dealing with that. We want to get this speed below 300, so you can use left shift and B. It should bring out these little flaps on the back. If you want to bring them in, left control and B, but I want to bring them out. So, and they'll go in a little bit when you hit the gears. It doesn't really matter. In real life, you probably feel it or something, but in the game. So I haven't got that speed below 300 yet, but I'll just fix that problem. I'll hit G for gear. At about 221, which should be okay. You can see the gear coming out. No idea where I'm flying, but that doesn't matter. Alright, it's 200 or so, and we can come in for a landing here. We'll use the left runway. So the other things now we want to look at are getting my speed down, that's for sure. So we'll place this on the runway somewhere. Try and drag it down, we're a little bit higher. We come back, we're pretty close now. Looking a lot better. So now that is in line with the runway kind of thing. And so we can just come up to match it and we just hold that. But I need to actually fly the plane rather than describe what I'm doing. We're actually going to work it out before we get there. There we go. As long as the gear's out, that's the main thing. We'll hit the runway. Try and hold it up a little bit. And then I'll let the nose down. And I should have rudder pedals, which I don't have, but we'll tap the W. And then the S on the keyboard. We got on the ground, so left control and B. I really want those rudder pedals. And we can probably park in one of those hangars over there, and we can see the frame rate. What was it, 160 at the moment? That's alright. One of the helicopters on the map. There we go. We can maybe switch off my taxi light, even though we haven't finished, or we can change the taxi. And we can rearm and reload. And then head out for another mission. I'm going to do a very quick shutdown, basically. There's a more longer process you can go through if you want. But I'll select the second one here. And we'll go into there. Of course, real pilots always use the external view when they're parking in a hangar, just to be safe. Right, we'll just swap around to the front. And what would be really cool is if they adjusted it so that when it rains, the rain doesn't come through this ceiling of this bunker. That would be really cool. I noticed on some of the maps the rain still comes through. So anyway, we've done all that. We're going to unlock this. we're going to put our parking brake on. The very few things I'm going to do. And then I'm going to open it by holding down the right mouse button. And then do the world's quickest shutdown by just doing right shift and end. And you can turn this off if you want to. And then we're safely on the ground. How good's that? So we've got a frame rate here of about 215 next glance that I made up there at it. And yeah, we described a few things. This wasn't really a tutorial flight. We're just trying to show you the frames per second while doing something a bit more than just taking out one aircraft on a map. And so you can see that there was quite a few things on this map. And the frame rate's still pretty good. You can hear those engines whirling down. Hope you found that video helpful, and thank you for watching. Have a great day.